Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In this session we will learn about solid principle. Uh, there will be more videos on solid principle. This is my first video on that. So here in this video we will learn what is solid stands for, why solid principle is important. Okay. Solid principle are subset of many principles promoted by Robert C. Martin, Uncle Bob. Robert C. Martin is also known as Uncle Bob. You'll find there are several books on clean code written by Uncle Bob. These solid principles are promoted. We will not say that invented, but it's promoted by him. And why promoted? So to make any software design better. So these are known as first 5 object oriented design principle. There are lots of principles promoted by Robert C. Martin, but these 5 are most famous for OOD pin. So solid is acronym for S. S word stands for single responsibility. O for open close principle. L for list of substitution. I for interface segregation, and D for dependency inversion. We will learn more about each of these principles in our upcoming videos. Now, why solid? Or why it is important? The solid principle helps us to make our software design more understandable, flexible, and maintainable. So, solid principle, we can say in simple word, helps us to create good software design. Now, what is a good software design? So before going for the good software design, let's think that you want to purchase a book. There are 2 kinds of book. One book has contents as first, like contents or index we can say, where it is mentioned chapter number 1 at which page, chapter number 2 at which page. Also the language is easy to understand, and it has pictures or good pictorial format. Whereas the second book or is let's say written in very difficult to understand. It doesn't have any contents or index. It doesn't have any picture, nothing. So in those cases, which book will you prefer, or which book will you say as a good book? The book which is easy to understand, that will be considered as good book, and we will prefer that. What are the key things here we found? And why book gives, or every book has content or index, so that easily we can jump to any page to go for any chapter. If I want to read only chapter 3, no need for me to go for each and every line. Means starting from the first page, directly I can go to that page number and read those read that chapter 3 only. And just imagine how it will be, means if a book doesn't give all those things, and let's say there is no index, nothing, and there is no separation of chapters. Like inside chapter 1 we can see contents of chapter 3 or chapter 2, like that. If it is mentioned, then it is difficult to understand for any beginner or even for anyone. So these are the characteristics of good book. Similarly, there is characteristics of good software design. What are they? A good design is easy to change. A good design is easy to do right things, and it's easy to flexible and extensible. Also, good design is testable and is reusable. If any design has, let's say, these 5 properties, then we are considering that is good design. Means we can give that design to anyone, and based on our need basis they can change it easily. And if it is difficult to change the design, that means there is improvements required in that design, and that design we cannot say that is a good design. And if we cannot reuse the design, or let's say if you have given a class, let's forget about the design. Let's think about a code where one method, let's say it has 500 to 600 lines. There are, let's say, around 50-60 if else conditions, and those are, we can say, there are, let's say, 25 complexities or more than that in that method. So means, what do you think, whether if I need to change something, whether it will be easy? Obviously if I am writing the code, then I can say that I know the code, it will be easy for me. But everybody or every piece of code, we can say, is replaceable. That means whether my colleague can change, or whether anyone who is new to the team, whether that person can change. Obviously the person can change, you can say, but it will take more effort. But if we or can we make it seamless, so that the change or the effort required will be minimum? If that can be done, then we can say, oh, it's good. But instead of that 500 line, if we say there is a method which has, let's say, maximum 10 line, and hardly it has any conditional block, maximum 1 or 2 conditional block, then if we compare with the 500 lines of method and against this 10 lines of code, then obviously this one will be easier. Good. Easier to make change, and easier to write any unit test, or that 10 lines of code means that method is testable. Also we can reuse, because we have already split it here. So the similar thing is for design. The good design is easy to change, and it tells that reusable. If it is reusable, there is less redundant code or duplication of code. There is less repetitive or duplication of code, because the code block can be reusable. And why good design? What is the benefit of? Because whenever we are developing any software, we need to think first is that the software is not meant for me. It is meant, or the software needs to be maintained by group of people, and that group of people, we can say, is for organization, or it can be a community, anything. So it's not that I will be always, or you will be always the owner for the code. Let's say if you are also owner of the code, if you can understand it today, means, and let's say, can you understand it, or can you make change easily after 10 years? So we need to think in that aspects. Also, there is a lifetime for any software. We need to think that how the software can sustain for long run. That means in those cases, can we make any improvement or not? If we cannot make any improvement, then obviously that will be a bad design. Right. And one example was, we can say, gyroscope. Uh, that was not, we can say, poor example. It was good learning for others, that how good design can help us to grow. And Xerox Cup, that Xerox was already famous in the means producing that Xerox copy of black and white color. Correct. Then they plan to do the color printout or the Xerox, but for them it was very difficult to do that, because the way the software was designed, it was not accepting, or it was very difficult to change anything, and they had to again rewrite. That means there is, we can say, tremendous effort was written, tremendous effort was required, and the similar amount of time. So if we write, from that we can say, learn that if we design any system poor, or if we make any system design poor, then it will be difficult to maintain, and we may end up writing the whole piece of code once again. Instead of that, before writing, we need to think twice, thrice to make any design better. So that's why the good design can save the money or save the time for any future enhancements. Thank you.